A big good evening and welcome to Manchester for the latest edition of MMTV. We are live from Marley Mancunia's studio in Miles Platting for the latest edition of Manchester rock and roll television online at its finest. I'm Dave Sweetmore. I'm going to be taking you through the night, and wherever you are watching this from in the world, please, as we always ask you, share it. Let's get this amazing channel all over the place. It's rock and roll, it's sport, it's music, it's inspirational people, and it's me and you for the next hour or so with a great show. Coming up tonight, a little bit later on, we're going to be going over to Ayia Napa for a live performance from a band who are currently #1 in Cyprus and in the top 10 in England. The brilliant Lost Vegas in Ayia Napa a little bit later on, and you're also going to see an interview I did with Chris from the band during the week. We've got legendary BBC sports broadcaster Jimmy Wagg with us. He's going to be telling us about 31 years at BBC Radio Manchester. Julianne Noon and John Barlow from Well Mental UK are going to be telling us about the amazing work they've been doing recently with Well Mental UK. We've got the Magic Mod, Ben Taylor, talking about his career, who he's worked with, what he's been up to, and how he's coping during lockdown. And also from the Word on the Street podcast, Jenny Berry and Carl Royal are going to be telling us about their careers and the Word on Our Street podcast, what it is and where you can catch up with it. As well as that, the Liam Gallagher impersonator, who's more rock and roll than Liam Gallagher, the legendary Degsy Williamson, is with us. He's turned up in the studio. We're going to get him on at some point as well. To start though, a band who are going to be playing for us this forthcoming Saturday at the World Irish Heritage Centre in Manchester for Fest 2. They're another one of the bands who are making a massive noise on the Wigan music scene at the moment. It's a great pleasure to start this edition of MMTV, the brilliant Facades.
Don't ask for my number, don't ask for my name, don't ask my friends either, 'cause they know your game. Please don't approach me, that's not my aim. I hate to tell you there's a right time, right place, but I think you got confused. I'll make it clear for you. I hope you're happy, I hope you're sad. I told you I'd be back, but I grabbed my bag, jumped in a taxi and headed home. You found another one 'cause you're never on your own, and that's okay with me. You don't know my name, you see, and that makes it so easy to leave, to leave. I hope you're happy, I hope you're sad. I really didn't mean it, I felt so bad. Jumped in that taxi and headed home. How many drinks down? I guess we'll never know. Don't ask for my number, don't ask for my name, don't ask my friends either, 'cause they know your game. Please don't approach me, that's not my aim. I hate to tell you there's a right time, right place. Is she better than me? Is she good at everything? Well, she doesn't have flaws, no, she doesn't even have pause. It's like a photoshopped image. She's like a photoshopped image.
A massive thank you to the Facades, another one of the bands from Wigan making a massive noise on the Wigan scene at the moment, and they are playing this forthcoming Saturday at MM 2 at the World Irish Heritage Centre in Manchester. If you want to come, it's going to be brilliant. Loads of great bands on. Tickets are available from all the MMTV social media pages and from the Facades Facebook page as well. But a massive thank you to the Facades. My next guest is not just a very good friend of mine, he's been a legendary broadcaster for BBC Radio Manchester for the last 31 years. He's been the anchorman at Saturday Sport, never missed a Saturday. He's finally called it a day after 31 years. My next guest tonight at MMTV is the legend that is Jimmy Wag. How are you doing, mate?
All right, it's a nice build-up you
Did
gave
you like
me
that,
that,
yeah? I thought I'd better give him a big one. Good friend, you need to give him a build-up, you know what I mean? So, how's it going?
It's going fine. I'm getting used to having Saturdays without headphones.
Well, we'll talk about your decision to call it a day and that shortly, but first of all, let's go back to the beginning. You're known as a massive Manchester City fan.
Yep.
Where was the decision to get into broadcasting? How did that start?
I don't think it really was a decision. My brother-in-law, Eamon O'Neill, he did what a lot of people do, answered phones, made cups of tea, worked his way up from assistant producer, presenter, went to Granada, ended up as Richard and Judy's boss. He phoned me up and said, they want to do a double-headed programme on Sunday. And I'm one of them, but they can't decide who the other one's going to be. Do you want to give it a go? And I'd never done a tap in radio. I just went in, we did about half an hour, somebody heard it, and 3 weeks later I started on the BBC.
So that was the Sunday show, which is still going at the moment
Yeah.
as well, and legendary. How did the sport come into it? Where did that come along?
Well, at the time, Radio Manchester was a bit of a joke for sport. Piccadilly had the market pretty much. They wanted to do something about that, so they asked me and Eamon to do it as a double header, which we did for the year. And then he said to me, do you want to do it on your own? So yeah, from 1991 onwards, I've done every Saturday until the end of last season.
As a massive Manchester City fan, you've become the voice of sport in Manchester. How easy was it to get into the, like you say, you'd never done radio. How easy was it to get into the system of not leaning towards one team? Obviously, you've got a lot of teams in Greater Manchester. Was it an easy thing to do to start learning and, about all these teams? And
you know what? I've been asked that hundreds of times, and to me, it is no problem because a City fan is what I am. But that's not what I do. The BBC don't pay me to be a City fan. They pay me to be a professional sports broadcaster. So when I sit down in front of a BBC microphone, my personal allegiance to City doesn't come into it at all. That said, I was as excited as anybody to be there for the Aguero moment, especially since I was one of the people being paid to be there for the Aguero moment. But no, there's no conflict, Dave. When I sit down with a set of headphones on, being a City fan is irrelevant.
well, that's known, and I also work for Rochdale Football Club as well, and I could speak on behalf of all the football teams in Greater Manchester. The support you've given every club in this area has been amazing. If you look back at that time, have you got any favourite moments that stand out over the last 31 years?
Well, 31 years is a long time, so there's a lot of standouts professionally. Again, I've been asked a few times. I could narrow it down to a week. I went to the cup final on Saturday. United beat Newcastle. Flew to Barcelona while United won the European Cup final. Back to Wembley on the Sunday with City for the Paul Dickoff-Gillingham game. And then I was back at Wembley the day after because Bolton were there against Watford. So I did 3 Wembley finals wrapped around a week at Barcelona to do the European Cup final. So you can't persuade yourself that's a job, can you?
Not at all. Did you think when you started, did you imagine the longevity of it and how long it'd last? Or, did you think, I'm going to be here for a while? Or is it just happened and it's gone quick?
It's certainly gone quick. When you get to the back end of 31 years, it's a blink of an eye, isn't it? It might seem like a long time when you're 20, but when you get to my age, it goes very, very quickly. But no, there was no plan. I was asked to do sport, so I did sport at the end of the first season. He said, do you want to do it again? So I said, yeah. And they didn't stop asking me until I decided it was time to jack it in.
How much do you think the world of sport and the world of broadcasting and sport, how much do you think it's changed over 3 decades?
Absolutely, totally. I started before the Premier League. My time at the BBC more or less coincided with Alex Ferguson's time. When I started, you couldn't do full match commentaries. You could only do away games and you could only do the second half. And you could only do reports if you went over 30 seconds. Somebody would report you to the broadcast authorities. Now, how many times have I sat next to you at Rochdale and we've done full match commentary on a Rochdale game?
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's been a lot, hasn't there?
Yeah, it's totally and utterly changed. Not all of it for the better, I think, because there's an awful lot of column inches and an awful lot of airtime to fill. So you get a lot of stuff which is peripheral to the football, but maybe that's just a generational thing. I'm not too keen on seeing footballers on the front pages.
So 31 years has gone. You're still, without a doubt, one of the most recognisable voices in sport in Manchester. Why now? What's the decision to call it a day now?
Well, it didn't just happen. I came out of the cup final 2019. City had just battered Watford 6-0. And I was having a pint with Fred and Mike Miney, 2 long-term friends of mine, and Andy Buckley, who was previously head of sport, who really gave me the job 30 years ago. And I said, you know what, for the first time in my life, and you've known me a long time, Dave, and I'm always...
20 years, yeah.
Evangelical to young people about never lose the wonder of what we do. And I came out thinking, you know what, I'm not that bothered. And Fred said, well, maybe it's just end of season blues. And when it came out of August, I walked into the BBC pre-season meeting and said to the head of sport, this is it now, last season for me, mate. And he said, well, we'll see. But I said, no, I'm not going to change my mind. I've done 31 years over 5 different decades. there's not a lot left to say. I've had as much fun as you can cram into a lifetime. Leave someone else to it now.
At any point have you thought, I fancy staying?
No, there will be a time when a big story breaks. I mean, I was on air when Sir Matt Busby died and stuff like that. And yeah, you'll miss the thrill of being at the heart of that. But it is what it is. And I'm quite happy to say that I've done what I've done. I've enjoyed it. I hope more people have enjoyed it. You know as well as I do as a professional broadcaster, for everyone who likes you, there are 10 people who hate you. But you just hope you've done a decent job. I certainly know every time I sat down, I wanted to do the best programme I'd ever done. I'm not sure I ever did it, but I always tried.
It's certainly going to be a strange thing listening to BBC Radio Manchester. Over them years, you've influenced a lot of people. You know, you've made a lot of friends. You've got a lot of people who look up to you. Do you think you'll keep in touch with like people from every single club? Will you still try and get back to matches?
Absolutely. Well, if we take your club, Rochdale, if I go to City, the experience, this is what people always ask you, what's it like doing football at City United? And it's brilliant. The facilities and that are fantastic. But when I go to Rochdale, I have a chat with Mark on the door, I come and see you and Leanne, go for a cup of tea with Jack the kit man, stick my head round the manager's door, have a chat with the chairman. When I go to City, the facilities are great, but I don't say hello to Pep or have a chat with Caldoon. It's a very different experience. So yeah, I've got like a standard invite to go to most of the clubs, but I've got to say I'm going to watch more non-league football than league.
Well, you're a massive Altrincham fan as well. They're your second team, and obviously it's been a funny season to finish because of the pandemic. So you didn't get out to many stadiums that perhaps you would have liked to have done. But your last game was the day that
Alty got promoted. Yeah,
I know that's what I mean. That's fate, that isn't it? It's got to be.
Well, I don't believe in gods and stuff like that, but I do think sometimes the planets line up. Yeah. And all the ducks in a row was definitely that Saturday with Altrincham getting promoted.
So you've had all these amazing experiences, then 31 years on Altrincham get promoted the day, your last game.
Do you know what? You asked me about my favourite experience, and I told you professionally. My best, on a personal level, we were in Monte Carlo, United were playing Monaco, and I went over with Wilf McGuinness, the former United manager. And when we were on the plane, we met Christopher Eccleston, who went on to be Doctor Who. And there's me, Wilf, and Christopher Eccleston going out for something to eat in the Café de Paris in the main square in Monte Carlo. I'm from Withenshaw, Will's from Collyhurst, and Christopher Eccleston's from Little Hulton. And we're all just looking at one another in the Café de Paris and go, who's going to put their hand up first? We're all waiting to get thrown out here, aren't we? So you can't buy an experience like that, can you?
I've got to ask, 31 years, you are without a doubt one of the most humble people I know. 31 years, you must have a whole, raft of experiences and stories to tell. Can we expect a book or anything from you? Is that something you've thought about doing?
Well, about 3 or 4 people have already approached me about doing a book. So I've already done a book about one of the City legends, Peter Barnes' dad, Ken Barnes.
About yourself, though, about your career?
Yeah, well, maybe. I know I've got the ability to write a book, but I'll write it, I'll put it in a drawer for a few months, and then I'll read it. And if it don't bother tripe out of me, I'll think about maybe publishing it.
So 31 years, you've got, you've never ever missed the Saturday Sports Show, which is unbelievable. I bet there's no one else in the world done that.
That's unbelievable, because you have to remember, the season's 41 weeks. You get 11 weeks off a year.
Still some doing that, 31 years without a Saturday off football.
It's just shy of 1,300 Saturdays.
Obviously, at the moment, the football season's only just starting again. How do you think you're going to spend your Saturdays now? Obviously, you've been sat in a studio or at a stadium in Greater Manchester. How do you think you're going to spend your Saturdays now?
I'm going to spend Saturdays watching football, but without headphones on. And I'm going to retrain myself, because I've spent 30 years learning how to watch football without getting involved. So even when Aguero scored, I didn't jump up because I was working out what I was going to say next. Now I can retrain myself to be a proper fan. I'm looking forward to it.
Throw the odd swear word in as well.
Every now and again.
Honestly, for the last 31 years, on behalf of every football club and every sports fan, thank you for what you've done for Greater Manchester and football. We wish you all the best for the future. And I know you've not done many interviews, so thank you for joining us at MMTV for the last 31 years. Jimmy Wagg.
My pleasure, Dave. Thank you.
A massive thank you to the legend that is Jimmy White. You are watching MMTV, the latest episode. Coming up a little bit later on, we're going to be going live to Ayia Napa for the brilliant Lost Vegas. They're currently #1 in the charts in Cyprus and in the top 10 here in the UK. But what we're going to do now is you're going to watch a little interview I did with the lead singer, Chris Topless, during the week from Cyprus.
Join us today on MMTV. We're going to talk more about the band in a bit. First of all, how does a lad from Derby end up in Cyprus?
Yeah, well actually, back in the day, I had a record deal with 4 lads when I was really young, and then we sort of made half the album, and then the band imploded, but I still had my publishing contract to write songs. I had to write 10 songs a year for 4 years. So I had some friends, I had this sort of girl that I knew in Cyprus. I went out there to try to concentrate on holding down this publishing deal, so I was writing songs and stuff. And basically, yeah, it was Ayia Napa, so I didn't do any of that. I just got on the lash for 5 years. That girl finally kicked me out, and then, yeah, I met another girl and ended up staying, so I never managed.
How long ago we're talking?
Well, I don't want to give away my age, but a long time ago, so 20 years ago.
I know that when you went over there, that's like when Ayia Napa were at its peak. That's a fair comment. But you got involved with putting gigs and stuff on. How did you end up getting involved on that scene? Obviously, you've got yourself a recording contract, and then you end up putting loads of gigs on. How did that come about?
So what happened was, yeah, like you say, it was exploding then when it was the big, like that garage thing was happening with it was massive, wasn't it, for a couple of years, and then Ayia Napa sort of exploded, and I sort of got there just at the end of that, and then what I noticed was, even though it was massively busy and had all these big clubs and all these events, there wasn't really anything happening indie wise, so I sort of found it quite easy to make a living, because it's still groups of lads on holiday in Napa, you know. So eventually I ended up, as well as just playing live, I put on a club night, an indie club night, and it was really successful. And then, I had a few guest DJs come over for that. I think the Twang come over and DJ'd for it, and later on, I think Mike Joyce for the Smiths, Bez was over here for a while. This was further down the line, but that's where it started.
I'll just say it ended up quite a big deal because you ended up taking Twisted Wheels, Charlatans, The Enemy, The Coops over. You ended up taking quite a lot of high established indie bands over, didn't you?
Yeah, well what happened was, I started that club night, and off the back of that, we basically opened an indie venue, not dissimilar to your own. That's kind of how I know Anton really. So we had a little sort of 200 capacity indie venue that the resident band was playing on, and then we started this sort of event festival thing just in that venue, and they were the best years, man. It was like 200 venue. I think we had John Reverend walk through the doors. He was the first ever booking. He came and did his thing. He ended up getting on the, I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's such a sound guy. He was getting on with the resident band. He played Champagne Supernova with my band and stuff. And then that year, like you say, I think I can't remember who else. I think it was the following year. We brought Twisted Wheel out, the Twang, the Charlatans, and then I think it was an hard slog, right, with the indie bands. It was great times, but obviously we're still in Ayia Napa, so we actually booked Chasing Status, and then we're queuing around the block. We sold it out, and we made a fair whack of money, and then from that, we basically moved the events onto the beach, and that's when it sort of snowballing and sort of had the kooks, and then it ended up, when people like Snoop Dogg was flying in on private jet and stuff. But
I heard a bit of a story about that. I'm going to bring that up in a moment. So,
yeah.
Although, you weren't just making memories for all these indie kids going over to Ayia Napa and yourself. You made a load of memories for the fans as well. How much did your life change from being a lad in a band in Derby?
Yeah.
All of mixing with these massive names in Ayia Napa. How much did your life change?
Totally, because not only obviously there was enough work in Ayia Napa, because I just went here on a limb just to hold on to that publishing thing, and we'd not made any money from original bands at all. So when I came here and realised how easy it was to sort of make money at just playing other people's songs and sort of going from there, I started doing that, and then yeah, obviously when it accumulated in all that them events, there was a point when not only did it change my life in the way that I could stay here, you know, until other factors arrived, I was on course to make a lot of money from it, you know. So it did change. It did change. I got some amazing memories, and although the company had to close in the end through reasons beyond my control, and I never really did get the money back we invested. We actually, it was an amazing ride, you know. Some of their memories. I mean, just the fact that people from the US were flying in and stuff to play events that I was booking and involved in is amazing, isn't it?
Now, you did some amazing stuff making memories, which is what it's all about. I heard a little story about when Snoop Dogg were over there. He had quite a specific ride. Can you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, he ain't the only one though, is he? And it's funny, isn't it, how the agents sort of bring it up in it's sort of like code in the emails. But he ain't the only one. But with Snoop Dogg, I didn't actually even get the message about it. It was just a given, innit? But the funny thing about that was, and Snoop Dogg, because obviously, like I say, in the early days, it was fun because actually, when the bands like the Kooks used to come out, Enemy, Twisted Wheels, Charlatans, to some degree, we were all hanging out in our little bar. You know, got to spend some quality time and made some good friends. Obviously, as these artists got bigger from the US, you're not really doing that. To the point where when Snoop Dogg turned up at the hotel, he actually pulled up with all his the biggest bodyguard people he'd ever seen. And I was there to meet him, to give him his hotel keys. And he pushed me away like he thought I was someone just trying to get an autograph. So he just got his bodyguards to push me. No, not now, mate. So, but yeah, he went, let's just say I had to go. But another guy who was, because I've never been that into the green, but one of the other guys spent a couple of hours up in the penthouse introducing him to the local produce.
So, you know, coming over there, all the memories you made during that period of time when Iron Apple was the place to be. What are your fond memories? What are your favourite memories of that time? You know, who are the bands that you particularly remember enjoying being with?
Yeah, I tell you what, right? The things that stick out for me is that first time that John McClure walked in to our little bar, our indie bar. And he's a big guy as well, you know, and he's quite an impact. And I think we were playing, it's weird, man. I think we were playing Stone Roses at the time, Want to Be Adored or something. And he's just breezed through the crowd. And he's a big lad, isn't he? And he was just standing there and you could see that he was loving it. And so that was one of my favourite memories. Obviously, I think the proudest moment professionally was when the Kooks played. It was one of the first we moved from club venues to the beach. And it was quite a big deal. They were on a world tour at the time. So technically wise, it was a lot on my plate. And I remember that because it was on a beach, we were obviously using generators, and the generator went down after sound check. So everything was cool at sound check. And then before they went on, we had this issue with the generator. I think it was sabotage, to be honest, right? So the Kooks, the show was off. But it was only my own determination of my team, plus the guys who were working with the Kooks was such world class. I actually dragged a desk from the other side of the island because it had completely burned the desk out. Put the desk in situ while the Kooks Fair Play played about the first 3 songs just from the monitor mix. And the show went ahead, and yeah, that was one of the proudest moments, because if it had stopped there, if that Kooks show had been off, that would have finished my career. And so, as far as pride-wise, the Kooks show. But as far as some of the times I had, Bez was over for a few days, 3 or 4 days. Yeah, that was an intense 4 days. But he's a top lad as well, man. I've got all the time in the world for him.
So he's a good friend of ours at MMTV as well, often comes along and comes on the show. So obviously you did all this amazing work, you know, Iron Apple were at its peak, and eventually, like everything does, the events company came to an end. At any point then did you think, I'm going to go back over to the UK, or was it always your intention to stay in Cyprus?
No, because my kids, I've got kids now, and even I've got, like I said, I'm from Derby, but I've got family in Manchester as well, and obviously I keep in touch with them, and I wouldn't really want my kids growing up in England, to be honest, and so I kind of adapted. I've carried on, obviously I do a lot of shows, probably end up doing about 300 shows a year, so I can I basically play all summer, and then this winter we went to America and Mexico and Jamaica and all that lot and played there. So, and I've got a little boat thing going on, a little boat business where we take people fishing and stuff for tuna and that. So I've managed to adapt since the events. And plus, you know, once you've been in events and you've still got a good name for booking, you can still go back to that any time, you know. It's just the venue we were using has been replaced by a brand new harbour and yeah, you know, other political reasons in town. So I can always go back to it. But no, I never thought about going back to the UK until this Corona thing happened. And I've had no work. I've had no work since February. So I've been on my arse and it has crossed my mind. But I'm not sure the work exists in the UK.
I think everyone's in the same position, and I'm sure once things are up and running again, you'll get yourself, you know, back to normal. We're going to talk about your band in a minute, but one thing I want to ask is, since you first went over to Cyprus, how much has the place changed since you first went over there?
Yeah, quite a lot. It's got a bit more, you know, I don't know if you know Ibiza, but Ibiza's quite far down the line, isn't it, with the clubs and stuff, and it's quite high end. And Ayia Napa was a bit more, yeah, you know, it was the garage scene and a bit, you know, grimy. But the actual place itself is much nicer than Dave's camera's off. It's much nicer than Ibiza beach-wise and stuff. And I suppose the big change over the years is there's a lot of money gone into it. They're building new harbours, multi-million-pound harbours. The place is sort of, it's been, yeah, there's a lot more money in now. It's a bit more cosmopolitan. There's a bit of a, yeah, it's a bit run down when I got here, to be honest. Bit old.
It's been through that change. So your band, Las Vegas, tell us about your band, Las Vegas. How did that come about? You know, what's the score with your band at the moment?
Yeah, well, Las Vegas is basically, like I say, we've all these gigs we did, like supporting these big acts like Rudimental, the Kooks and all that lot. We did them as Las Vegas. And obviously, because we've been playing together for a couple of years, me and, you know, we've done it all around the world. We're actually really, like, tight, amazing live band. And it just made sense, really, for me and Drew to start writing, because obviously I used to write before. And because I've got such a chemistry with Drew, the lockdown gave us the opportunity to sort of finish stuff we were working on. So basically, we've always been meaning to do it, but being in Ayia Napa sort of, you can lose a few years easy. You know what I mean? Without doing anything. Yeah. So the lockdown happened. We couldn't, you know, we took a foot off the gas a bit, and we just knuckled down and got this record finished. So yeah, it's the first.
Which we really can't wait for. You're going to play for us on MMTV shortly. What's the future for you though, Chris? What's the future?
Well, that's in it. That obviously the idea would be, hopefully, to keep putting out the content from Las Vegas, and you know, if we could go back to America and sort of tour that again, and even one day come back to the UK, and you know. It's just about getting the numbers in it. So we'll keep making the music, and if we get the numbers, then hopefully we can tour off the back of that in the winter. While we're in the summer, we will have to keep working. This is where we earn our bread and butter, you know. This is where the work is.
Keep in touch with us, man. And when you do come over to the UK, make sure you come and see us at MMTV, yeah.
Hey, Manchester will be my first port of call, my friend. I've got family in Stockport, innit? Stockport, Hazel Grove.
Well, listen, Chris, right, we're going to see your band play live shortly with us on MMTV, but thank you so much for joining us today, mate. Take care, we'll see you soon, man.
No, wicked. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having us.
A massive thank you to the brilliant Chris Topless, lead singer of Las Vegas, for who are over in Cyprus. They're going to be playing us out a little bit later on in the show, live from Ayia Napa. And don't forget, they are currently #1 in the charts in Cyprus and also in the top 10 over here in the UK. Now, almost 2 years ago, in November 2018, we launched MMTV. One of our very first guests was not only an absolute nuisance, but an absolute legend on the music scene. He is without a doubt the world's best Liam Gallagher impersonator tribute. He's more rock and roll than Liam Gallagher. 2 years on, he's snuck his way back into the studio, and he's here. Degs Williamson, how you doing, man?
I'm all right, thank you. Hey, do you know what? I feel quite important today.
Well, I like to make you feel important. I've known you a long time, you know what I mean?
I'm on the Viagra.
Do you know what? I'll be deadly honest, right? You see this here? It's normally like a list of questions and things and that. There's nothing on it for you, so we're just going to absolutely wing it.
Good.
So, right, first
Ask
of all...
me about my television career.
I'll ask you about that in a minute. First of all, 2 years ago, you came to the first ever MMTV. What do you think of it now? How much has it changed?
The faces are different. The environment's a bit nicer, especially the facilities downstairs.
The diner, the MMTV
the
diner.
MMTV diner. The decor's got a bit better. They've done the. It looks a bit more hacienda-ish. I fucking love it. I'm allowed to swear as well. She said.
Would you bring one of your many women fans now, whereas you wouldn't have done
Don't make out that I've got many women fans.
I've known you, mate, a long time.
My wife's left me though. My wife's left me. I just thought I'd take that out there. That was a year ago, but
Sorry,
I did get a new girlfriend. No,
Sorry,
it's fine. It's fine. I've got a girlfriend now.
Georgina, you got any tissues?
I do use tissues sometimes to dry my tears.
Anyway, let's crack on. This pandemic, as we know, the scene we work on at the moment, the tribute festivals, they're massive at the moment, aren't they? How have you coped this year? It's been crap, hasn't it, music-wise?
I haven't worked at all, so I'm on my arse. That's why I've got this new girlfriend. She pays for everything. She works on the stock exchange.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What have you been doing much with, like, you know, the lads in the band? Have you kept involved with music in any way? Have you just had 6 months off?
We did a private party in this back garden in Cardiff.
And I take it everyone lived together.
It was, you and I are gonna live together. No, I don't do that high bit very good, so, but yeah. Yeah, they were living together, obviously. Yeah, because of social distancing and all that.
So next year, when things go back to normal, hopefully we'll have all the festivals back and all that kind of stuff. What do you think we can expect next year? Is it going to be bigger and better than ever? Are people still going to be on edge?
Well, I couldn't give two monkeys about it, to be honest. Well, I don't want to get into that because I'd be called a conspiracy theorist.
So what do you think?
I can't say because I'll get taken off the air, Dave.
This is rock and roll telly. People want to know what Dexy Williamson thinks.
Don't put me in that corner, Dave.
We've got an idea. So, you've had a bit of time off music, and I bet you can't wait to get back on stage, can you?
I cannot. And we are doing the bowlers, aren't we?
Yes, that's right. And the bowlers, it should have been in March, shouldn't it? It's been moved back to November. The big Manchester Festival. It's always a great day, that, isn't it?
If you are not closed-minded to tribute bands sounding like the bands, and these bands are all from Manchester, apart from the Cortinas. Are they the Cortinas from Manchester? Manchester, are they? Oh, sorry about that, the Cortinas.
Middleton.
If I was doing a Cortinas tribute, I'd call it the Cortinas with a Cortin, like you spell a Ford Cortina.
Like the car.
Not the chord between us or whatever's. Isn't that like...
Anyway, will you stop slagging other bands off? We're meant to promote bowlers.
I love them guys. They know it. I don't really like the Cortinas, but I do like the chord between us. That's funny because, some bands, I don't like them, but the tribute bands are banging.
If you fancy bowlers at the end of November, I think there's about 4,000 tickets gone. There's about 500 left, something like that. Get them in, because it's a great day, innit? It's just a brilliant, brilliant day.
It's unbelievable. Everybody gets twisted right up.
Good day.
It is. It's legendary. It's legendary.
So going into 2021, before we let you go and go back into the audience, what are the plans for the Oasis experience and yourself for next year? Have you got much booked in?
Yeah, I've got a wedding. In September. That's next September, not this September. I'm doing fuck all. If the dole are onto me, no, I'm doing fuck all. Have you had any work, paid or unpaid, in the last 2 weeks? No. Oh yeah, the T-shirt. Carl got me this T-shirt. Can you put the phone on, Carl? It's not a phone. It's a proper camera and everything. So Carl, you don't want to be on the telly? Look, Carl, who got in the Man United thing. Yeah. That's him out of the Man United team, by the way. He played for Man United in the European Cup, didn't you? Fucking mint, that. So last time I saw him, I went, he had this T-shirt on. And I went...
Can I?
Yeah,
can I touch
please,
you?
Dave, please. Yeah. Don't show off my third nipple. Because they'll be all calling me the...
You're looking well, you know.
Scaramanga.
You're looking well, man.
Thank you, brother. 52. 52, if any girls are available. My number is 07398 639. It's not really. It is, actually. But, oh, yeah, so it says, can you read it?
Manchester.
I didn't tell the story, but Carl, I'm like that shirt is fucking brilliant, mate. He goes, you like it? I went, I fucking love it. He went, he went like that. Got his tits out, and I was like, you look good, Carl. Thanks for the T-shirt. And we've been friends ever since.
Top man, innit? Well, listen, it's 2 years since you were last here. It's been great to see you again, man. And if we don't see you before, we'll see you at Bowlers, yeah?
If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through a window. That fucking Leeds nicked that off me. I used to say that all the time.
Dex Williamson.
If the Invisible Man phones for me, tell him I can't see him.
And don't forget,
Thank
tickets
you.
on sale now for Bowlers at the end of November. A massive thank you to Dex Williamson. Our next guest is a man who has worked with so many rock and roll legends. He's known as the Magic Mod. His real name is Ben Taylor, and it is an absolute pleasure to have him with us tonight on MMTV. Please welcome to the show, Ben Taylor, a.k.a. the Magic Mod. How are you doing, man? Good to see you. What an entrance. I'll tell you what, 2 years we've been doing this show. We've never had anything like that before.
So,
hey, listen, cheers for joining us today. Obviously, we're here in Manchester. You've come up from Brighton to be with us. How's things? All right? Keeping well?
Very well. Very well. A bit like everyone else, though. A bit disappointed I'm not really performing. You know, I missed the buzz of being on the stage.
It's been a shit year for entertainment, hasn't it?
It has. It really has. You know, I mean, I put all my eggs in the basket of being a magician, and I was so fortunate enough that the road I was taking was brilliant. And I had some really good things going on this year, but obviously unfortunate what's happened to, as again, not just me, everyone's in the same boat, but I've had to pick up a little part-time job working at Sainsbury's.
How's that going on? Do you get a discount?
Fucking love it.
I'll tell you what, we'll talk about this year and what's going on in a moment, but let's go back to the beginning. Ben Taylor, as a kid, why magic?
It started at a young age. Like my mum and dad for Christmas, they gave me a Paul Daniels magic set. I think I was 7 years old, and at the time I thought, Jesus Christ, what's this? Do you know what I mean? But the moment I lifted the box, I truly believed that was the start of something unique. I was just hooked on it. Honestly, I was like a crackhead. That was my drug. I was honestly just always doing my tricks and tried to learn a new trick every day, and by the end of the week I'd put on a little performance for my mum and dad and charged them £1. So even at a young age I was a bit of a good businessman.
Do you think that magic, even though you can get, as a kid you get these magic boxes and stuff like that, do you think that even with all the instructions and stuff, do you think that magic is something that anyone can do if they want it, or do you think you have to have a bit of a knack, a bit of a talent maybe?
Do you know what, as I was saying earlier on, anyone can go out and perform magic if they wanted to, but not many people want to. You know, when people come up to me, they go, oh, how many hours or how many days did it take you to practice this trick? It's taken a long time over a period. I mean, I've been doing it, as I said, I've started at 7. I didn't really kick off as a professional till I was about 19, 20, and now I'm 30. And you're always learning something new. You know, no matter what you think you know in the magic or anything, you're always going to learn another trick or another way of doing it. And that's the beauty of this industry, is that you're always learning and you're always picking up new bits.
I think that's a great way to look at it. Whatever you do in life, you know, you never stop learning, do you? So you're going to do some magic for us shortly with a couple of the facades, I think. We're going to get them over in a minute, the band that was on earlier. Before we do that, though, obviously we've spoke about your magic. You started that when you were 7 years old. What about music? Where did music come into your life?
I first started at, again, a young age as a repeating pattern here, and it was the Jam. My mum had an album on the side, and I don't know what, something was like a magnet to me in that album, and I played it and I thought, oh wow, this is unbelievable. And it honestly, Setting Suns is my favourite album from the Jam, and it honestly changed my life. You know, a bit like the film Quadrophenia. I watched that and I wanted to be like Jimmy. I wanted to be that. Everywhere he goes, everyone looked at him. He looked amazing. Everything about him was slick and he was so cool. And I thought, I want to be like that. And then the magic rolled into the mod scene, and then, of course, with the great taste in music. And And it is just such a unique brand that I love it.
So your life really has been your two passions of music and magic, which you put together. Your career, obviously, you started, I dare say, you were doing family parties, pubs, stuff like that. Check this out, your career, since then you've worked with the Libertines, Ronnie Wood, Stone Roses, Paul Weller, Reverend and the Makers. How on earth do you go from being a kid with a Paul Daniels magic box to, you know, being the magic mod, playing for all these absolute legends and idols?
Do you know what? A lot of it was luck and determination from my behalf. And I say this to a lot of musicians actually come up to me and say, you know, what's your inspiration? And my inspiration is, when I first started, I didn't have no goal. You know, I didn't set myself a target of being in front of 10 people, not even 20 people. I just wanted to have as much fun as I could. The fact that I've actually sat next to my hero, who's Paul Weller, the fact that he even knows who I am, the fact that I can have a chat with him is something that is, you know, it's a dream come true.
Money can't buy.
No, you can't. And you know, no matter what happens, this has been the most amazing journey of my life, and it's still happening. You know, there's still stuff's happening that I think, wow, how has this happened? The young lad from Crawley, who when I was... I know, cut that bit out. So when I was like at school, I always used to have a deck of cards, and I was always practicing like under the table, messing around with my deck. And I was always, I thought, you know, I was never really listening into what the teacher was saying, because I'm not very brainy anyway. But I just thought, you know, I kept on trying to learn new moves. I thought one day something might happen here. But as I said to you, to even be performing in, you know, I played Kentish Town, just to name a few, Brighton Centre, which is near to me, and I had a goal of performing there. My dream is to play at Brixton Academy, and I think a lot of people know about that. And I know it'll happen because I'm so determined to make it happen. Not sure how, but I might have to break in when it's not open or something and stand on the stage.
So you started doing this at the age of 7. As you became a teenager, got into mid-teens, got into drink and girls and stuff like that. Did you continue through them late teen years, or did you stop at any point, or is it something that's just carried on through your life?
What, drinking and girls?
No, the magic.
Oh. No, I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, I was at one point I was playing football. I was in a football academy for 2 years, and I thought, hang about, something might happen here. I might be the next, I don't know, Johnny Haynes or whatever. There's a little Fulham reference for you. But in real life, I was a bit more like Chef Shikuchi, overweight and couldn't really run with the ball. But as again, the magic I've never not practiced, and I've never lost the love. And my biggest fear is one day I will. And that scares me worse than death, mate, to think that one day I might lose that passion.
Well, talking to you today, I don't for 1 minute think you will.
I hope not.
You've made a great name for yourself over the years, you know, as a magician on the music scene as well. This year, I've asked a lot of people this on MMTV, this year's been an absolute disaster for the entertainment industry. How has it, you know, you've mentioned you've had to get a bit of a part-time job and all that. You know, how has it affected you over the last few months? Have you continued to learn magic, or have you had a bit of a break from it?
No. Again, it's the thing that keeps me going. It's the thing why I wake up in the morning, and this is another inspiration to me. I wake up and there's a picture of me and Phil Daniels, a picture of me and Paul Daniels, and a picture of me and Paul Weller. That's my inspiration, knowing that I've met them people through a deck of 52 cards. So I would never stop. If I stop, I wouldn't know what route I'd go down. And don't get me wrong, with what's going on, my mind has played tricks on me, and you think to yourself, fuck, what am I going to do? Am I ever going to get a gig again? Are people going to forget about me? And as I said, it's not just me, it's a lot of people in that situation. But what I've been doing is just keeping myself active on social medias by doing a thing called Magic Mod Mondays, which is a lovely little thing. And I get a little trick out there and it gets people talking.
Make sure you follow that on social media, Magic Mod Mondays.
Would there be a little link there? Or
hopefully, we'll have a word with our amazing camera people. If we can have that down at the bottom here.
Yeah, like that. Just there.
Just here.
It has, like, as I said though, it has been a big struggle. And no one's more gutted than myself, because I would love nothing more than to be back on a stage performing in front of people. And soon, hopefully not too long, it'll happen again, because I miss it.
I think everyone who works, you know, in the entertainment and music scene feels the same. I was 2021 looking for you. Is your diary looking good?
Honest truth, I've said this a few times. I'm taking them as they're coming, booking in. But I was doing a lot of Q&As as well. I was doing stuff with Sean Ryder, Alan McGee, and I was very fortunate enough to do the Quadrophenia, a few of them ones. But as I say, I'm just going to see whatever happens, because I've learned not to plan anything now, because I planned something which was going to happen at the end of this year, And now I'm just putting that on ice for a bit until we know what's actually going to happen in the world.
I think that's the thing at the moment. Everyone thought this pandemic were going to be 3 months and then 6 months, and now no one's got a clue, have they? And that's the worst part of it.
And that's why at the moment I'm not going to start planning, because I don't want to big my hopes up. I mean, as I said, I know I keep saying it, this year I really think would have been a key year for me, and I had some fantastic opportunities. Whether they're going to come back or not, who knows? But
I'm sure they will. With your passion and your talent and all that, I'm sure they will, man. Before we let you go, we had a great band on from Wigan before called The Facades.
Yeah.
And if we can ask a couple of them to come over, you're going to do a little bit of magic for them, I believe.
Oh, am I? I thought I was just talking.
No. We need to see some magic. We're not letting you come all the way from Brighton without doing something. Oh, and Degsy Williamson.
No. Keep him away. Yeah, keep him away.
I'm sure you've met.
Keep this geezer away.
Did they need a microphone?
I can't believe he's still wearing that helmet. Oh, it's his hair.
Okay, so what we've got here is the legendary Ben Taylor, a.k.a. the Magic Mod. We've got Degsy Williamson from the Oasis Experience, and we've got two great people here from the Facades who are going to do a little bit of magic. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me move out of the way. I'll come over here. You lot sit there. So, can you tell us what you're going to do with these people?
I don't even know what I'm going to do myself, mate. I'm going to wing it.
We're not going to let you come from Brighton and do nothing.
Brilliant. I don't know where I put my fucking cards. Here we go. Yeah. Edit this bit out, right? Make me look professional, all right? Oh, here they are. Bang. Right. Do you mind holding that?
I can do that. Well, I'll talk. I'll do your what's it. He's now shuffling the cards. He's fanning them. He's laughing. He's got a queen.
Just hold it like that. Hold it like that, all right? Yeah. You can tell which one's the professional way. No, I'm joking. Right. Knock me fucking... Huh? You're knocking my teeth out. Right, we'll do a quick one, okay? Just say stop whenever you like. There, take that card, look at it, show the camera and show the crowd. Don't let me know it's the King of Hearts, all right? But show everyone. Right, I've seen the trick before. It's a good one. Keep laughing, it helps. Right, just write your credit card details. You're going lower, mate. Come on. Right, I'm fucking going. It's going to look like I'm doing something different in a minute. Right, hold it up a bit. You do that. Right. So could you sign your credit card details and your bank card just across that card for me, yeah? We'll cut that bit out as well, right? So has the camera seen the card? You're going low again, man. Seriously. It's not rehearsed at all. So there's your card, the King of Hearts, yeah? You sure? Do you want to change your mind? Oh, it's a shame, never mind. All right, so I'll put your card in the middle. Just make sure it's not on the top, is it? You sure? And it's not on the bottom. Did you notice I took two jokers out at the beginning, yeah? Could you hold your hand out for me? The clean one? Two jokers, okay? One there. Two jokers. One on top of the other. I call them the broke-back jokers. Tough crowd. So I'm going to put the cards in your hand. Just put your hand on top like a sandwich. Okay? And roughly how many cards down was yours? Just say stop. There? Okay. Watch this. Basically, I made the card No, it's not there. Hey. So basically, I made your card disappear. The hardest thing to do is to make it end up in your hand. That'd be quite good, though, wouldn't it? Yeah? Should we just leave it as that? No, have a look in your hand. There should be two cards. One's the two jokers, and in between is the card with your signature. Hold the applause. Thank you. Thanks for your support. Hey, are we on? Right, so there's your card there, okay? The king. We'll just get rid of that. And my Parker. So I'm going to just place your card in the middle there. Okay, again, watch as closely as you can. So it's not on the top, no, and it's not on the bottom. Now, a minute ago, we found it the hard way. Now we're going to find it the easy way, okay? We've done it in your hands. Just watch as closely as you can. The two jokers, watch as closely as you can. Okay? Tell I'm right-handed, can't you? Just watch as closely as you can, okay? Watch the two jokers, okay? In the middle, one card pokes in the middle, and hopefully that should be your card, and when you turn it over, they go fucking mental. Thank you. I'm available for bookings and weddings and bar mitzvahs and shit like that, all right? Funerals.
So there we go. A massive thank you to Ben Taylor, a.k.a. the Magic Mod, and of course, Degsy Williamson and two of the brilliant Facades. Cheers. And before we let you go, though, we have got to ask, plans for next year as well as bookings?
Yeah, as I said, I just want to keep on developing the act and just pushing my name out there as much as I can. I mean, as I said, I'm so grateful that even, as I said over there, even 10 people know about me is amazing. 20, brilliant. I just want as many people to know what I love is the magic, and I'm trying to bring it in with the music industry.
Well, the passion over the last 10, 15 minutes has oozed out of you. So, Ben Taylor, the Magic Mod, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us on MMTV. Thank you, mate. Cheers, pal.
No, thank you very much. Thank you.
Our next guests came onto the radar of MMTV a few weeks ago when they interviewed Anton and Carl, two of the people behind MMTV. They did an amazing interview on the podcast, which is called Word on Our Street podcast, so check it out. We're going to talk to them about that and what they've been up to. Jenny Berry and Carl Royal, how are you doing?
Great.
Listen, thanks for joining us on MMTV tonight. Obviously, Carl and Anton behind the scenes have spoke loads about that amazing interview you did with them. We've all listened to it and absolutely loved it. We're going to talk about you two and where you met and the podcast in a minute. First of all, Jenny, you started life in the public eye as a poet. Tell us about that.
Yeah, is my mic on?
It's on.
Yeah, I'm a poet, and for the past few years I've gone into prisons running workshops with inmates and drug addicts, and I use my poetry that way for things.
We're going to talk about that in a few minutes because that's a really great thing, and one of the things we love to do on MMTV is talk about inspirational people. We've got Julianne and John on in a bit from Well Mental Health. So you did the poetry. You, Carl, were a magician.
I still am a magician.
Still am a magician.
But I also run an agency called Wizardry Entertainments, and we put out other artists all over the country, nationally and internationally. But I've carried on performing.
Is that just in magic, or does your agency cover everything?
The agency covers everything, really. Anything. It's mainly wedding entertainment, corporate entertainment, and that kind of thing. Motivational speaking, things like that. Things for conferences. But the magic is what I do, MCing and things like that, and it's taken me all over the world. So I'm lucky lad, really.
It's a great thing to do, innit? So obviously, we're going to talk to you in a minute about the Word on Our Street podcast, which is the reason why we've got here. But first of all, Carl, a magician, Jenny, a poet. How did you two come to work together?
Well, we've known each other quite a few years, haven't we?
Just a little bit. I've known you since you were little.
He's going to do a really crap joke now.
That's the third time I've heard that since you turned up.
I have to put
It's
up
the
with
only
this.
joke that I know. She is very small, you can't tell.
I am 5 foot with a 6 foot mouth.
So where did you two meet them?
So through Carl's sister, I know his sister, but we came working together this way because we've done a lot over the years.
You worked for me, didn't you?
for
On
about,
one of our events, giving chocolates out.
for about 3 days, and I couldn't put up with him.
Are you still here now?
They were cool days.
Yeah. No. I did a lot of promotional work when I was younger for him. But the actual podcast was born. I entered a competition. Well, I saw a competition for the Lowry. It was for Festival Week 53. And it was for all Salford artists to get involved and tell their story.
And how long ago was this?
This was earlier this year.
Right.
And I thought, right, okay, there's poets everywhere. How can it be different? So then I spoke to Carl and thought, can we mix poetry and magic? And we came up with something together, didn't we?
We had a go, didn't we?
For mental health. And we got picked.
We won.
And it got
Brilliant.
cancelled.
Yeah, and then it got cancelled like everything else.
Is that still going to go ahead at some point when things are back to normal?
Not
Well-
in that format. But it has built a relationship with the Lowry Theatre that
'Cause
we wouldn't have.
Didn't you also work together on Salford Radio as well? Have you done work together there? Am I right in
Well, this is
my
a
notes?
funny story. I went on as a guest at Carl's show.
Yeah, she
didn't
came
I?
on as a guest with me, and a bit like Jenny, she always says she'll get where water can't. And so next thing, she's got her own show. So that's the way
Yeah.
it works, I think.
So you've done all this amazing stuff with poetry, with magic, with Salford Radio as well, and then all of a sudden you appear doing the Word on Our Street podcast. Tell us, first of all, tell us a little bit what Word on Our Street podcast is.
Okay, so it's a platform for artists it's to review the arts in a non-snobby way. We say we're not highbrow, we're more eyebrow. Because we
Is that
don't.
your joke?
It was my line, yeah.
Keep using that one.
Yeah. Well, it's better than the short one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit of a pattern going on here.
And because of the Week 53 festival got cancelled, we thought there's no work for artists. So we really started the podcast. We thought, sack it, we're going to keep working.
Yeah, what we've managed to do is, for season 1, we've done 10 episodes, and we've managed to get a really varied, it's a very, very guest-orientated podcast.
Well, there's a lot of people talking about it already, considering you've only done one series.
Yeah.
So you've done one series, 10 episodes. Tell us some of the people you've had on.
That's been awesome, hasn't it?
Yeah, really good. We've got a fantastic one coming up next week. Obviously, Ant and Neck.
Yeah, Carl and Anton who
that-
won
Which
MMTV.
is actually, I've got to say, the most listened to episode.
Told you I weren't making
Popular
that up.
lads, popular
No,
lads,
absolutely.
popular TV programme.
We've had photographers on, haven't we?
We've had photographers on.
We've had actors on.
A female magician was our first
Female
one.
magician,
Who's
Nicola
that?
Arcane from Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
If people want to listen to these podcasts, is there social media? You know, is there any platform they can go to listen back to these 10 amazing episodes?
All of them. All the mainstream ones, aren't they?
Yeah, it's on Apple, it's on Google, it's on the main thing is called Podbean. So if you go on there, that's got everything. But if you just put word on our street into the internet, it comes up. It's all over the place.
We're not going to expect you to say the obvious one, the MMTV one, but have you got any particular favourites that you've done? Any favourite guests you've had on?
Not just saying this, but all of them, because they've been so humble. And for the work that they've done
Do
as
you
well.
not find that that's
that was
the
a bit
Manchester
creepy.
arts in general?
What? That was what?
I've got a favourite, and you're going, everybody.
No. You try to not give me a chance. It's a good job we're being filmed today, isn't it?
Do you not think, though, that's the Manchester entertainment and art scene in general, that
Yeah.
it is just a friendly scene to be on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what? We've been able to keep most of the guests, they're quite local. Saying that, we had a guy on from Nigeria. Do you know what I mean? So local and Nigeria. So it's so Zoom's a great thing, isn't it?
And we are getting Carl's daughter on, who serves the best chicken wraps, I've got to say.
In the MMTV diner?
Absolutely, got to give that a plug. We've got a Coronation Street star coming up, haven't
Yeah,
we?
the finale, episode 10, which is on next week, we're doing as a two-part episode. And we've got Melissa Johns, who was in Coronation Street. She's also got a 6-part series on BBC coming up in a few weeks, which is called Life. And so she spoke to us. We met her at the Lowry, didn't we, in Salford, top hotel. They looked after us. And she talked from being at school right through to getting on Coronation Street. And then the work of being, sort of the work she does about disabled actors as well, because she's only got one arm. And so that's something that she's an advocate for.
It's great when people tell stories like that. It's real life. It shows that they're real people and not just on telly, doesn't it? You know.
She spent 2 hours with us. In fact, she gave us 2 interviews.
She spoke more than Carl. Can you believe it?
So, obviously, I want to talk in a minute about this thing where you get arts into prisons and stuff like that. But obviously, you've just said you've done 1 full season of the Get Word on Our Street podcast. What are the plans for the future for it? Where do you aim to take it?
We want to grow it, which is happening quite fast. But we want to do a show, don't we?
Yeah, I
we
think
want a live show.
The future, I think, of podcasts, if you can get successful, is taking it live. So you've got an audience and you record it live, a little bit like this, really. And I think that going forward, if we can do that with some of the people we've had on, and we've got quite a lot of people lined up for season 2, haven't we?
Got loads, yeah.
Can't talk about it yet.
Well, obviously, we were well aware of the Word on Our Street podcast, but obviously, when you interviewed the lads behind MMTV, they came back full of praise and absolutely loved the interview. We all loved listening to it, so that was the reason. They said, let's get them on the show and
awesome.
Help them out and stuff.
That's really, grateful for that.
Right, one thing though, obviously, we do a lot of stuff on MMTV about, inspirational people. And one thing you do is you try and get arts into the prison. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm a poet in prisons. In 2015-16, I won a competition. I won £10,000 to set up a social enterprise called In Your Own Words.
Did you find you had a lot more friends when you won that money?
Oh yeah, loads of them. I've got none again now. And for 4 years, I run a social enterprise, which is a bit like a charity, but you get funding in. And I went around the northwest prisons and run workshops and grew it with volunteers. I've stopped doing that now. I still do it freelance, just for funding, as always. But I've got a book coming out called The Great Escape, and all my experiences in poetry about it. And I'm using prisoners' artwork to accompany each chapter heading.
You must be able to tell some great stories and met some real, influential people. And I don't mean for what they've done while they've in prison, but I mean, the way they've turned their lives around and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely loads. I mean, I've had lads that told me, and girls, I've got to be careful now, I won't say the prisons, who had heroin at the school Christmas disco, age 9. I was having cider when I was I thought I'd been told short then, sorry. So they had no kind of hope in life. And then they come in, on the wing to a poetry class, and they're using it and it's working. So that's a massive inspiration.
Is that something that's going to carry on as well?
Yeah, I've been away from that at the moment. I've been working in rehabilitation outside. I'm working with the Ark, which is outside Manchester Prison. So next year, I should be running a lot more workshops in and what you call through the gate when they're out to keep them not going back in.
That's a great thing you're doing as well. And if people want more information about that, is that something you're just doing for yourself, or is there anywhere people can find out more?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Jenny Berry Poet. It'll come up on the website. So.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time out to join us on MMTV. Keep up the good work with everything you're doing and, of course, the Word on Our Street podcast. And don't forget, it is available on all the usual platforms. All 10 of them are brilliant. And like we mentioned before, one of them was about MMTV, so check that out as well. What episode was that, MMTV?
4.
Episode 4. Listen to all of them, but episode 4, that's the one with MMTV on. But listen, thank you for joining us tonight on MMTV. Keep up good work and good luck with absolutely everything you're doing.
Thanks for having us.
Jenny Berry and Carl Royal from the brilliant Word on Our Street podcast.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Coming up later on, before we finish this edition of MMTV, we are going to be going live to Ayia Napa for a live performance from the brilliant Las Vegas. They're currently #1 in Cyprus, and they're in the top 10 here in the UK. Before I introduce you to my next guest, I just want to remind you that this forthcoming Saturday, the 12th of September, it is MM-Fest 2 taking place at the World Irish Heritage Centre in Manchester. The lineup is amazing. It's brilliant. The Facades are playing, who were on before. The Red Stains, Broke Casino, Jess Kemp, M40, Roots to Nowhere, Ventrells, Afternoon People. It's a brilliant, brilliant lineup. That's this forthcoming Saturday at the World Irish Heritage Centre in Manchester. MM-Fest 2. Tickets available on now. Just look at all the usual MMTV social media pages. My next guests are two friends of mine originating from Haywood. They've recently set up a brilliant, brilliant organisation called Well Mental UK. To tell us all about it are the two people behind the scenes, Julianne Noon and John Barlow. How are you doing? Listen, thanks for joining us on MMTV tonight, and thank you for all the great work, what you are doing. First of all, Julianne, tell us about what is Well Mental UK?
It's just an organisation that me and John have set up. We've known each other years, just like from being from Haywood. And over lockdown, I've been walking my little dog, and John's been working on himself as well. So we just sent some messages like, oh, well done for your walks, and John's nearly a year being sober. So we're just praising each other like that, and it was just a bit of a joke. Said, oh, we should set up a little gang of us and go walking and stuff, and it's really, really took off. We've been really shocked at the response we've had.
Talking about yourself, John, Julianne just mentioned, obviously, it's a year you've been sober. Haywood, it's a drinking town, innit? I'm from there, you know what I mean? We all used to go out back in the day and stuff. Yeah. What were the reason, if you don't mind me asking, a year ago, to knock the beer on the head?
Just had a bit of felt like I had a problem with drinking, drugs. Been addicted to gambling in the past as well. But the reason I stopped was I was watching telly and it's in the advert for Go Sober for October, so I thought I'll just give it a go. Then one of my mates recommended a book to me called This Naked Mind. I read it, and as soon as I finished the book, I decided that's it, I'm not drinking again.
And a year on, how are you feeling in yourself?
Just amazing.
How different is it compared to when you're going out for a beer and stuff? How have you changed in yourself?
I've learned to deal with it. Just learned that you don't really need... In your head, you think that you have to drink every time you go out to a wedding or just for a meal. Or like even with me, I was having a drink if I went out to Blackpool with a family, having a few cans for the journey, stuff like that. But I just learned... My hardest one was going to the match without having a drink, But I learned how to do it, and now it doesn't bother me one bit no more.
Well, off the back of that and your friendship with Julianne, obviously you formed, Well Mental UK. Obviously, you just said the idea was to go for a few walks and stuff like that. What made you make the decision to come up with a name for it and an organisation for it, rather than just calling up on your mates to go for a walk?
Because basically, we just wanted to help other people, didn't we?
A lot of my close friends have struggled and been through a lot, and through knowing John. And then especially with lockdown, I had people messaging me and saying, oh, where have you been on this walk? And because I'd share pictures, because I do photography, and people was asking, like, oh, where's this, where's that? So we just said, like, a bit of a joke, like, oh, let's organise a walk. And then through seeing the other charities on Instagram and things, we said, oh, we could maybe start something and help people local.
So where did the name Well Mental UK come from then?
My sister actually said it, Paula.
Of course, we all know Paula.
Yeah, she's like, we were saying, what could we call it? And we was like looking at ideas and stuff. And she said for the well-being and then the mental side of everything, and just get everyone to really to let everyone know that everybody struggles and everyone struggles with different things for different reasons. So it's to help everyone.
So you've got Well Mental UK, you have a great gang of people going out on these walks, but what do you aim to achieve in the long term for Well Mental UK?
We want it to go bigger, don't we? Hopefully, maybe one day, like, well, I think the best thing would be if we could get someone who come on the walk who we don't know. A lot of the people we're helping at the minute, or we're asking for help. They're our mates, or we know them from Haywood. Do you know what I mean? But
how many people roughly are you getting on these walks at the moment?
the last one was 44, wasn't it?
44, yeah. And
Wow.
we had children, adults, and then even a stranger come and he said, "You don't mind that I've come?" And we're like, "No, thanks." And he'd brought a friend with him that he'd not seen for years. He'd invited him and they'd met up and they brought the dogs, and it was just really nice.
And you find that people are getting a lot out of what you're doing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, the feedback's been amazing, and it brings me to tears sometimes, because I'll get people message me in the middle of the night and just say, "Oh, thanks for the walk, it really cheered me up," and just giving them something to look forward to. So I'll say, "Oh, the next one's next week," and I'll let them know when it is. And the response, it's been mind-blowing, and
Just going massive, isn't it?
yeah.
So obviously you've got these plans to make it bigger, get more people on the walks. What kind of places are you doing the walks? What kind of surroundings? What venues are you going to do these walks?
We've been locally on the past 3 ones that we've done.
Locally to yourself in Haywood?
Yeah.
But we're going to do one to celebrate John's year of being sober. Where was that one?
Malham Cove.
Malham Cove, the next one.
Right.
Yeah. What date was that? I forgot.
26th of September.
26, yeah. So we're going to get a gang of us to go up there, and not I would usually celebrate something with beer and however everyone else celebrates, but yeah, something to celebrate.
We'll do eventually we want to, like, if we can, like, get into schools, teach it in schools, like, help everyone who, there's a lot of people need help there, but they don't know where to go and get it, do they? Or no one helps people out, do you know what I mean? Loads of people are struggling there just with general things like weight, gambling, drinking, drugs, and there's just nothing really, is there? It's a hard thing for people to ask, isn't it?
It is, and it's great what you're doing. And on MMTV, we always try and have inspirational people on, which is why we've got you two on. So obviously, you want it to go bigger. You want to do bigger things. Is there going to be a point where you're going to start needing funding? Obviously, you're putting a lot of your own time into it at the moment. Have you thought that far ahead of raising money and fundraising, or is that something that's a bit further down the field?
Well, we're going to start fundraising on our next walk for a local man who's been, it's a postman, and he's been raising funds all over Haywood, Stephen Kay. So we're going to do a collection for him, and he's raising money for Haywood's food bank.
Have you got any plans for the next walk yet?
We've got one tomorrow with everyone who's coming tomorrow.
Obviously, the one you've got tomorrow, this programme won't go out until we've filmed it. So have you got any more, in the future?
Just the one for John, the next one.
So when's that one?
The 26th of September, and everyone's welcome, and it'll be great.
So the 26th of September, that's going to be a great one. If people want more information about this amazing work you're doing, do you have social media or anything like that? Where can people find you?
Yeah, we've got Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and it's just Well Mental UK if you search it in there.
So what about 2021 going into next year? Have you thought about that yet, and where these walks might take you?
Well, we want to make it more than just walks, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully be nice to have a little unit where people can come down, talk to us one-to-one. If they don't like, some people might not feel like coming on the walks, just somewhere someone can drop in. Obviously do want to go bigger. We want funding, like you were just asking then, but we're only just getting started, aren't we? We've only been going 2 months.
And do you know what? As well as doing what you're doing, I bet you both as well as having a great laugh on these walks, which I'm sure you do. You must be feeling good in yourselves as well as all this walking. You used to, like in Haywood, it's walking pub to pub, innit? You know what I mean? So that's what it is, and it's all these great walks you're doing. Must be feeling good.
That's why we got talking, because I noticed a change in John, and I said, more than anything, you're looking well in yourself, but you look free. Where John was always someone I'd avoid on a night out. And he said before he'd probably be on the stage if he'd had it, how we used to.
I'd have been worse than that guy.
I remember. I've known you both a long time. I remember that. No, so it is brilliant what you're doing, and if you want more information about the brilliant work what Julianne and John do, Well Mental UK, as they said, on all the usual social media channels. Give them a follow, see what they're doing. It is brilliant, brilliant work, and please, you know, you'll be changing people's lives without realising it, and that is why we get inspirational people on MMTV. So thank you so much for both coming on, and keep up the good work. And you never know, we might even try and get a team from MMTV to come on the walks. That'd be good. That'd be an experience for you.
You're not on goal.
A massive, massive thank you to John Barlow and Julianne at Noon. Once again, do give him a follow, yeah? Well Mental UK. Check out the amazing work, what they're doing, changing people's lives, sorting them out. And like I say, they've said, you've heard them, you can even go on these walks with them. Great, great things to do. Julianne and John from Well Mental UK, thank you.
Thanks.
So you are watching MMTV, and to close the show tonight, what we're going to do now is we're going to go live, yes, live, to Ayia Napa for a band who are currently #1 in Cyprus. They're in the top 10 in the UK. This, live from Ayia Napa, is Las Vegas.
tell you bad things and you believe them. I tell you good things, you don't receive them. I tell you anything to stop you leaving. Why do we kid ourselves? There are no reason. She's a beautiful girl, I think we'd all agree. It's a beautiful world, it's not enough for me. She sleeps in the sheets in the warm air. I see you with your friends when you're not there. What did I do this time? Was he out of line, sitting in the sunshine? Summer suicide, soon your friends are two sides. Then you decide if you're gonna go. Well, listen, don't just let me know. What did I do now? What did I do now? You, what did I do now? You, what did I do? It was a crazy season, I'm glad to be alive. A self-destructive treason, a summer suicide. I look for any reason that you're still by my side. I left the keys for you in case you change your mind. What did I do this time? Was he out of line, sitting in the sunshine? Summer suicide, soon your friends will choose sides. Then you decide if you're gonna go. Well, listen, don't just let me know. What did I do this time? Was he out of line, sitting in the sunshine? The summer suicide, soon your friends will choose sides. Then you decide if you're gonna go. Well, listen, don't just let me know. Is it getting any better? I guess if no one lasts forever. It wasn't really me that left behind. It wasn't really me, I didn't mean it. What did I do this time? Was he out of line, sitting in the sunshine? Summer suicide, soon your friends will choose sides. Then you decide if you're gonna go. Well, listen, don't just let me know. Was he out of line, sitting in the sunshine? Summer suicide, soon your friends will choose sides. Then you decide if you're gonna go. Well, listen, don't just let me know. Don't let them burn your light out. If you can see, then you can shout. Don't let them burn your light out. If you can scream, then you can shout. Hit my fingers to the bone. Guilty feeling gonna last forever. I'm never coming home. Keep an eye on the weight you carry. That load will take you under a warm water's flow. You sing hallelujah. You've been a friend of mine. You sing hallelujah. You came in the nick of time. I know you wanna save me. You waited all your life, but I paid no mind. Ooh, I saw the lights of heaven. Ooh, wish I'd have known you better. If you give me time, I'm gonna learn to fly, and I'm Will I see you later? Or is this goodbye? Nothing lasts forever. Just give me one more night. And take the money, and take the show, and keep on walking toward the warm water. The warm water. Ooh, I saw the lights in feather. Ooh, wish I'd have known you better. If you give me time, I'm gonna learn to fly and I'll make it right. Whoa, in the end, none of this will even matter. Oh, oh, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. In the end, none of this will even matter. Oh, oh, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. You sing hallelujah, you've been a friend of mine. You sing hallelujah, you and me until the end of time. I know you wanna save me, you'd love to see me cry, but my eyes are dry. Ooh, show me the lights of heaven. Ooh, wish I'd have known you better. If you give me time, and I'll make it right. Whoa, and if you give me time, I'm gonna learn to fly and I'll make it right. And I'll make it right. Dip my fingers to the bone, guilty feeling gonna last forever.
This is the title track off of EP Mexico.
I saw her on a Friday night dancing in electric blue. She was with another guy, I don't wanna break the rules. But late at night, when you were left with nothing else to lose, and you and I, nothing left to prove. And yes, you know, and you and I, we were meant to lose. And so what if our love was ordinary? None of these words are necessary. We're not the only losers here tonight. We're not the only losers here tonight. Follow signs that lead you down to Mexico. You're down with all the places I don't want to go. So alive, and you faked it. Nobody talks, I hate this. And yeah, there's no shame. So what if our love was ordinary? None of these words are necessary. We're not the only losers here tonight. We're not the only losers here. And we've got tonight, we've got tonight. ashes. Remember when we used to hang out down the local roller rink? No, I don't wanna grow up either. Look at the mess we're in. No, I don't think we'll reach the shore if we don't learn how to swim. And I can't put this fire out if you won't let me kick your door in. No, I don't wanna be no Superman. Look at the speed we're traveling. You better grow up soon. 'Cause look at the mess we're in. Look at the mess we're in. I see the soles of your shoes, and I know just where you've been. I heard all the excuses that just tells me recycling. No, I don't think we'll reach the shore if we don't learn how to swim. And I can't put this fire out if you won't let me kick your door in. No, I don't wanna be no Superman. Look at the speed we're traveling. You better grow up soon. 'Cause look at the mess we're in. Look at the mess we're in. Look at the mess. And look at the mess we're in. I'm checking out of the Flamingo because I couldn't afford to win. Out to be your Domingo. Now I'm racing for the border. Now I know I can destroy you. Gonna leave the city of sin. And that's where I begin. That's where I begin. That's where I begin.
Yeah, big shout out to Manchester MTV for having us. It's a city close to our hearts. We're Las Vegas. We hope to see you there soon. Big shout out to my family in Hazel Grove, Stockport.
Good times for a change. See the life I had can make a good man bad. So please, 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 let me get what I want this time. Haven't had a dream in a long time. See the life I had can make a good man bad. So please, for once in my life, let me get what I want. Lord knows it would be the first time. Lord knows it would be the first time.
Thank you, Manchester. We'll see you soon, yeah?
How about that then? Live from Ayia Napa, #1 in Cyprus and #10 in the UK. What a way to end the show. The brilliant Lost Vegas. A massive, massive thank you to them and all the team over in Cyprus for putting that together for us. You have been watching MMTV live from Marley Mancunia's studio in Manchester. I've been Dave Sweetmore. Thank you to all of our guests tonight. The brilliant Lost Vegas, who you've just seen, and their frontman Chris Soplis, who we had an interview with before. Thanks to Julianne Noon and John Barlow from Wembantel UK, Jenny Berry and Carl Royal from the Word on Our Street podcast, Degs Williamson from the Oasis Experience, the Magic Mod Ben Taylor, legendary BBC broadcaster Jimmy Wagg, and Wigan's finest Facades. And don't forget, the Facades are one of the bands playing this forthcoming Saturday at MM Fest 2 at the World Irish Heritage Centre in Manchester. Loads of great bands on. Tickets available now on the MMTV social media channels. Thank you. Share it wherever you're watching this from. This is Manchester's rock and roll premier television channel at its absolute finest. Make sure you're following us on social media and we'll let you know details of the next one. If you're at the World Irish Heritage Centre in Manchester on Saturday, I'll see you there. If not, we'll see you soon for the next MMTV. I've been Dave Sweetmore from all of the team here in Manchester. Good night.